I welcome you all to the fourth session of the family business training we are presently doing. A fourth session which will now be focusing on the need for family businesses to have a strategic mindset in the way they run their businesses. And when we speak about a strategic mindset, I am going today be focusing on a strategic mindset for family businesses, which is somewhat different, at least in its foundation, than traditional other traditional businesses. At the end of the day, the start of any strategy formulation for any family business is arriving at an answer to that question, which I am presently showing you on the screen. What is the type of family businesses do we want? All right, do you want? Because before going into the formulation and complex formulation of strategy, um, family businesses need to get the basics right. They need to align they need to be clear what the values of the same family business are and where they need to take this business. And so I have started this presentation by starting with the four main building blocks, which we will delve deeper during this presentation. I call them the foundational blocks before we can start then speaking about strategic formulation. First of all, in defining terms, how will this family business define value in terms of growth, in terms of what profits to distribute and what profits to keep for reinvestment, and what level of control does the family want on the business? We will be looking at how these definitions are going to articulate a purpose. What is the reason why family members are in business together? We will then need to translate that purpose into specific goals. And finally, we need to have safety checks, boundaries, a system of both financial and non-financial checks to make sure that the purpose, the goals outlined, the strategy that comes after is actually, the business is actually moving in that direction and the family business is not veering off course. Let's start with the first part. How are we going to define what is of value to us? What is success in this family business? Is success growth? Is that what we value? Growing endlessly? There are family businesses which do not pursue that. They pursue other values. They pursue the value of growing till a certain limit, but then making sure that all the family members within that family business have a healthy work-life balance, for example. Because growing, and especially growing beyond a certain limit, we all know brings with it commitment, stress, the need of stronger structures, the need of stronger overview and guidance. And so it obviously comes with its own bag of problems. Another value is what are we going to do with profit? How are we going to view profit? Is profit something that needs to be reinvested to grow further? And so if you are pursuing a growth strategy as the first question we asked, then obviously it makes sense that a lot of the profits, if not all, are reinvested in the business. Or you are more interested in increasing the amount of payouts, dividend distribution that is done every year. Also, we're looking at possibly distributing all profits or a huge majority of profits to shareholders. Obviously, the right to make these decisions is with the owners, but every decision, and this is important so that we started, it's at the very start of any family business strategic formulation, is extremely clear both for all corporate governance structures in the business when it comes to board of directors, the family room, whatever, so that they know exactly what is valued most by the owners. The level of control. What level of control does the family business ownership want to keep on the business? Obviously, if they want to keep a maximum amount of control, that means that they will either want to remain operating with the capital that the business has or by having the present shareholders injecting any needed capital, because they would not want to lose control by having new equity partners joining the business or by the business having to take out loans, even if it is bank loans, which come with their covenants, with their terms and conditions, which would restrict what family members can do with their business. So obviously, if the maximum is, what is most of value is keeping control, most probably the family business ownership would want to veer off getting other sources of capital, whether through other equity partners or through loans. The final take-home message here is the influence that family business owners have over whether to grow, how much to grow, or whether not to grow the business, how much of the profits to keep within the business and how much to distribute, and the level of control they want to keep on the business, on the family business, will shape the family business company strategy, because these are fundamental elements of any family business strategy. We mentioned a purpose. And sometimes when I start speaking about a purpose to family businesses, they think I am trying to be romantic or whatever. But really and truly, this is another fundamental question. Why do you choose to be in business with your family members? And no superficial answer is going to really give a purpose to this family business, which will make it so strong that it can storm any challenge that comes its way. Some superficial answers I get is that we need to maintain our father or grandfather's legacy, sort of, our father this, or grandfather started this, and we have, to continue it, sort of lump it. Or that, it makes financial sense to remain in business together. I mean, these are not really compelling reasons, and they are not really reasons that are likely to last in the long run. I mean, maximizing profits or living someone else's dream is not really something that will likely weather a storm. What I find to be compelling reasons are values that are shared by family owners and that cut across the board and allow them and give really sound reasons to own businesses together. Compelling reasons that are expressed in missions, value, vision statements, and most of all, they are very linked with the foundational parts we have already outlined about strategic formulation. You own the business in the family because you want to grow it together. You own the business together because you want to be able to increase the profit out of it, and so be able to offer a better quality of life to your family members by having better profit and dividend distribution. You want to own the business together with your family because you want to have greater autonomy on what happens in this business, and hence greater autonomy on what happens in your lives. And these start becoming really compelling purposes. The next step is to transfer the outlined purposes into setting goals. And obviously, it depends what the purpose is, whether the purpose is to grow, whether the purpose is to take out as much profits in the business as much as possible or to increase profitability, or if you want to retain control, because there are trade-offs to be made here. I mean, normally it's very difficult to obtain all three: growth, profit, and control, because there are trade-offs to be made between each one of them. And I will try to explain these trade-offs by using some scenarios. For example, if your focus and so the goals you will set are based on growth and control, so you value most growth and control rather than profits, you are likely to be inclined to reinvest all your retained earnings and do not pay dividends or pay very low dividends. You also would want to do that because since you want to keep control, you are not really inclined to have the business finance growth by getting external debt or an external equity or an investor. Because you do not want to lose control to answer to outside investor or to borrowers or whatever. So the people, the owners of family businesses who want to have the goal of growth and control, they are the ones that are likely to focus a lot on managing the expectations on family business, on family members, family owners when it comes to dividend distribution, because the primary focus is not profit distribution, but keeping retained earnings so that the business is not deprived from the capital it needs to keep growing, since growth is a priority. On the other hand, if the priority is growth and profit distribution, then obviously we are looking at different priorities. Okay, if you value growth and profit distribution, you are focused on obviously expanding the business, but also on paying out money to the owner. So here, control is not anymore, as we've seen before, a priority. And so you are more open to distribute profits to shareholders, but then have business capitalized either by outside investor, by debt, and giving some level of control as a result. Obviously, here you need to manage the extent to which you are losing control, and hence the decision making that the majority family owners, majority shareholders are going to lose to other equity partners or to lenders. Another scenario is well, there is another scenario which I did not include here, which is basically control and profit distribution, which obviously also has its trade-offs. Defining safety checks and boundaries. As I have outlined before, besides translating the purpose into goals, we then need to find a system whereby the goals we have set and the performance of the actual business is being monitored to make sure that we are in line, that the business is moving in line with the goals it has set and also with the purpose it has set. Okay. And here there are a number of checks and boundaries which need to be set, because setting the purpose and the goal is good. But obviously you need to set up measurements in order to analyze the performance of the business, see if it's moving in the right directions, and make important decisions, especially if things are not moving into the direction we have set. And I have split the checks one normally has into two areas. First is the financial checks. I think these are the ones which are most obvious. So the financial performance, management accounts, budgeting, various analysis, key KPIs, both financial and operational from a performance problem, in order to evaluate problems and see if they are showing that the company and the business is moving in the direction towards the goals we have established. However, beyond the financial checks, then there are also non-financial checks. These are checks that define outcomes which are beyond the financial element and which sometimes show how much are we willing to sacrifice financial performance because there are other important outcomes, non-financial outcomes, which are also very important for the business. And here I decided to give you a deeper view for of these excuse me of these non-financial safety checks or non-financial elements. First of all, leadership. Now, leadership is a very wide-ranging subject, but does the company have the right skills from its owners to lead the business, or is it better, at least for a temporary period, to get outside leadership into the business? Okay, it could be that the business would be willing to sacrifice temporary financial performance by having its owners, although them not presently not the most skilled, to lead the business, knowing too well that by doing so they will learn the ropes, they will learn faster, they are willing to couple the on-the-job training together with some more structured training in order to improve their leadership skills, knowing that this will pay dividends, this will be beneficial for the business going forward. However, there needs to be a check on this. We need to monitor progress, how much these people are improving, how much they are committed, so on and so forth. Moreover, business sectors. Are there business sectors which we are involved in at the moment which are not being profitable? And if we are, why do we remain involved in these business sectors? Do we remain involved in these sectors because we want to preserve family harmony? Because some of these business sectors are run by some cousin, some brother, and we will upset him or upset her by closing down that business sector, although this business sector or this business unit has a poor financial performance. And how much are we ready to keep sustaining this? At what cost? Till what limit? Who is monitoring this? Okay. We will another non-financial check is obviously the business practices. Okay, how much are we willing to sacrifice from our financial performance when we are aligning our business practices with our values? Okay, let's mention the mother of all cases. If our values mean that we will always abide by all rules and regulation, and so we will always issue, we will always declare all our income, we will always issue VAT and fiscal receipts to all our transactions, sales transactions. That means there is an element, obviously, of sales which we will lose because there will be some clients who prefer, even if it's against the law, to operate without wanting to pay VAT or taxation. Are we all in agreement? Is everything in line that whatever the sacrifice in temporary financial performance, the overall value is that we will always operate in the highest ethical standards and we will always abide by our financial rules and regulations and laws, and so we will always declare our income, notwithstanding in the short term if this has any financial impact. Obviously, we need to bring all this together. The family business strategy is the document that brings purpose, goals, and checks together. actually, this is the foundational part, okay? Because this family business strategy needs to answer these three core questions: the purpose, why are you in business together as a family? The goals, what trade-offs are you ready to do between growth, profit distribution, and control to achieve the purpose you have outlined? And what checks, what metrics, what boundary conditions are you going to provide to your board, to your management team, to help them understand the way and what are the limits within which they can implement your goals, your outlined goals. Finally, beyond this foundational element, any family business needs to proceed to then build a normal, what I call a normal business strategic plan. How is the business going to create value? Beyond the importance of operational excellence, it is the analysis of the market in which the business is operating in. What is the competition? What are the markets which the business can develop further? Which is the markets the business needs to attract or find a new positioning into that market? These are all part and parcel of an integrated strategic plan. Obviously, as part of the strategic plan, there needs to be value creation needs to be supported by talent creation, because value will not fall from the sky. It will happen if we have the right talent, both family and non-family, both at leadership level and even at operational level. And so making the right investments in order to develop talent at family and non-family level at various levels in the business is key to make sure that the value creation of the business is safeguarded. Any strategy needs to look deeply into possible new growth opportunities. Can we diversify? Are there new opportunities we have a good chance to grow the value of the company? And so having an experiment, a mindset, a strategic mindset come with an openness for change, to look and get involved in new activities and knowing how to increase your investment and when to pull out from certain investment. And obviously identifying how your company and the talent of the family people involved in the company needs to develop in order to look at these new value creating activities. A strategic plan and the strategic mindset of reviewing your strategic plan over time is also a way of challenging your business, seeing which are the activities that are over time destroying value, but you are still operating in them because these are what you used to do, what your grandfather or your father used to do, and so you have a sense of tradition to keep operating this way, or because you want to avoid conflict, especially the conflict between generation. The old generation, the old guard needs to keep operating the way it did, whilst the new generation wants to change because they're seeing the need for change, for improvement. And finally, a strategic analysis and a strategic plan allows you to look at your business in a detached way, detached from practices, detached from people. While our people are important, people, whether family members or none, come to the business to serve the business and not vice versa, for the business to serve them. And so have a look in a detached way at practices and people that are not adding value to the business. Loyalty is a very admirable quality, but loyalty to activities and people that are destroying value and so are not supporting the mission on the values of the family business and are hindering any changes that need to happen is, in my view, not admirable at all. It is actually endangering the future viability and any future prospects of the family business. This brings us to an end of my input on the strategic mindset and the need for strategy on the business. I put this comparison or this frame of mind in the first session, and I will repeat it again. I see a lot of family businesses, using a lot of their energy, shifting coal. Like, in the film Titanic, you have the people in the engine room down there. They're constantly, it was a steam engined vessel, shifting coal in order to have the engine run faster. But I rarely see people, family business leaders, who go up on deck on the top floor to see where the ship is heading. Many a times they realize they have a problem when it is too late, when the ship has already hit something and water is coming in. And the result is they have huge cash flow problems. The market has changed and it's very difficult to reintegrate themselves in the market because they lost a lot of market share. They lost a lot of talent along the way. And it becomes more difficult than if they were on the ball, looking and analyzing things, looking at their strategy and veering their ship in time. And so my heartfelt message here is to do not think that strategy, it is something for big businesses. Do not think that strategy is a waste of time. Strategy is something that will save your business. Strategic mindset is a mindset that will make you answer the most critical questions. Do I have all the information at hand? Am I making the right decisions? Should I change the way I'm operating? Should I change the market I am in? Am I losing any opportunities? Am I competitive enough? Is the competition moving faster, better than me? These are all very important questions that need answers and need them at the right time. Okay? And please get outside help. Do not think that you can do it on your own. You know a lot of the answers, but you also need to be challenged. You need to be guided. You need to give given direction. You need someone that asks the right questions. And please get outside help. Whatever the cost of that outside help, it will be much cheaper if you do not act in a timely manner and then trying to create the mess, the disaster that has happened after the ship has hit an iceberg. After this input, we will have two interviews, yet again, by family business members from Denise Mikalev-Shwireb, who is one of the directors at the AS Group. She heads the construction side, the construction team, and she will give us, she will answer some questions on this element of strategy foundations and strategy formulation at family business. And we also have Alistair from Universal Import and Export, who will also give us his input on strategic formulation and the need for a strategic mindset in family businesses.
Thank you, Silvan. Thank you for the opportunity. It's a topic which is very close at heart, obviously. We're in the process of second generation of a family business. So I think out of what you have mentioned now, I think the purpose first. Do we really want to be in the business? I think that was the first question that we had to answer as the children. And the decision was natural at a certain stage, because earlier on in our years, we didn't, me personally, I wanted to steer off. But then I made a decision. It was a decision that both my sister and I wanted to be in the business So we trained ourselves for that, for our roles today. It was a process that took years, and today both Claire and I, together with my father and all the management team, we know that we're in it because we want to grow the business, because we want to be a part of it. We want to be a part of the legacy. We want to grow the business. We want to be the leaders in our areas. We also made a decision years back to remain close to our core competencies. That means that when we had started to diversify into areas which we weren't close to, which weren't knowledgeable, which we weren't competent in, we realized that we were struggling in those areas. So today, more than ever, we're expanding in our core areas, whether it is the construction, development, hotels, care, and renewable energies today, where we are seeing reutilizing one of our areas within development to grow this new business of renewable energy. So that gives us our purpose. Why do we do this? What are we getting out of it? And then, yes, we do translate them into goals. Of course, we have our short-term goals, we have our long-term goals, where we want to grow the hotel business, also the construction, when we diversified into the restoration aspect of the business. So the goals, yes, but I would say the primary would be the purpose, that we're sure on why we are doing this as a family, first and foremost.
So our family business is the second generation. Purpose, I think, was the most important one. Originally, the founder of the business had, in terms of a day-to-day perspective, the same, let's say, overall vision we have now, but in terms of what he wanted out of the business in its entirety, possibly was a bit different. We also went from one founder to 3 individuals being involved. So kind of finding the purpose of what these 3 individuals wanted out of the business was very crucial. That is not to say the other aspects aren't, such as goals and checks. But although it's a family business that had been running for 50 years, you could sort of say that in the terms of purpose for the business, there was sort of a reset when it was passed down to the second generation. And the different individuals had, I myself, I'm an external shareholder, but the family shareholders, their backgrounds was different to their fathers. They're more scientifically inclined, etc. So what they wanted the business to do was different to what their father wanted the business to do. And in order to keep everyone interested and to do their best, basically, you have to realign the purpose to suit that skill set and those needs.
First and foremost, we are in business to do business. So the financial checks are extremely important. However, they cannot be seen in isolation. You cannot you cannot run a company purely on financial checks and exclude the non-financial checks. This is the same when you are doing qualitative analysis, quantitative analysis. You need both, they both need to work together. In our case, even when it came succession planning, we took this into consideration. And as I said before, today, both my father, Claire, and I, who are running the business in terms of family members, we are competent in our respective areas. However, despite us being very close as a family business and as a family, we still felt the need to engage an external CEO. Why is this? Not because Claire or myself or my father wasn't capable to take on that role, but we felt that the need for the company at that point in time was to appoint an external CEO to handle the strategy of the business, so that Claire and I could focus more on the operational side and the expansion of our respective core areas. So that for me is a very important aspect when it came to a non-financial check. Other areas include aspects such as guest questionnaires within the hotels, something simple. But what rating are you going to give to the experience? Because ultimately we are in business for our clients and our guests. So how are we getting the feedback from our clients? Are we exceeding their expectation? Because ultimately that is also, I would put that on a high aspect of why we are in business. So yes, we are in business to do business, but we are in business to satisfy why we are in that respective field. So are our construction clients happy? Are we giving a commitment to our to the neighborhood where we are developing? So yes, we have a commitment over there. And the same for our guests within both the hotels, restaurants, and the care business. So I would also factor a softer side to do business. And so yes, the financial parts are important, and us being a listed entity, it is even more important that we keep to our budgets, to all our KPIs, because they are the drivers of they are the root. However, the non-financial checks, I would say, are today more than ever, even post-COVID, are very important.
I would say both are important. Obviously, there's a natural tendency for people to bias one over the other. I mean, it won't be a huge bias, but maybe 60-40. It depends on the original purpose of the company or of the family business. If your preference is more on the culture side, maybe initially there's more focus on the internal checks than on financial checks. If the focus or the purpose is specifically limitless growth, then possibly your strategy would be more focused on financial checks. In our case, I mean, financial checks are important. We have monthly management accounts, we review, and we're very focused on that because we appreciate that being efficient with your finances significantly increases your ability to grow. However, our primary target is the culture of the company and basically pushing and providing an environment where everyone within the company has an opportunity to meet their expectations, let's call it that. And we basically believe that that strategy will in turn give us the growth we are looking for at the rate we want it to grow. So I would say maybe we focus 55% on non-financial and 45% on the financial side. But again, it's quite balanced.